Gigi Berardi on FoodWISE. I'm going to read part of this section on mega-scale agriculture, and I'm asking the question, what's going on in terms of structure of agriculture? Who's growing what? And then I have an article I want to highlight and also share something about my day today, which was very agriculturally oriented. Okay. So what is a farm? What is happening to farms? Where are the small farms? Are all farms small? These are the questions I'm trying to answer. First, a few basic definitions from the USDA. A farm, in quotes, is, in quotes, any place from which $1,000 or more of agricultural products were sold. A family farm, quote unquote, is, quote, any farm where the majority of the business is owned by the operator and individuals related to the operator. Okay. The first change in definition was the criteria for farm type in relation to sales. A small farm used to be one with less than $250,000 in sales. Now the cutoff is $350,000. A mid-sized family farm has income between $350,000 and $999,000. A large family farm has income over $1 million, but less than $5 million. And a very large family farm has income over $5 million. Non-family farms are not classified by amount of sales. The second change was what counts as farm income, with the effect of now reclassifying many larger farms as small. The recent situation with farm types, as reported by the USDA's Economic Research Service, was that in 2015, small family farms made up 90% of all US farms, operating on 48% of the farmland and accounting for 24% of overall farm production. The 6% of farms classified as mid-sized family farms operated on 23% of the acreage and accounted for 23% of production. The 3% of farms classified as large-scale family farms also operated on 23% of the acreage, but accounted for 42% of production. The 1% of all farms that were non-family operated on 6% of the farmland and accounted for 11% of US agricultural output. So the USDA reports that the number of small family farms has stayed about the same for the past 2 decades. But that's partly because the definition of small changed to include more farms. A slightly different picture is given by another USDA report issued in 2019. It says that the total number of farms declined between 2012 and 2017. Only very small farms, sales less than $2,500, and very large ones, sales over $5 million, increased in number. Those very large farms accounted for 1% of farms, but 35% of all sales. Small farms, sales of $50,000 or less, accounted for 76% of farms, but only 3% of sales. What should we make of all this? We will talk more about it later, but a couple of takeaways are that the United States has a great many small and medium-sized family farms operating on most of the farmland, but their numbers are shrinking, and that the few very large farms dominate production. Clearly, farming resources are being concentrated across a small number of big operators. I must point out that this really is a FoodWISE moment, which I give more examples of in the science section of part 2. Here we have a whole lot of information on important topics with big implications for how we act. How do we dig into it to understand what it really means? How do we apply our own judgment? As I say elsewhere, we need to stop, think, then act. We need to understand information presented to us and think critically about it and about the interpretations and conclusions that are presented with it. In this case, do you think the USDA definitions of family farm size adequately capture the real picture? To me, it looks like they're serving to cover up a decline in small family farms. I'm going to end there. Begin tomorrow with back to efficiencies. We'll talk about efficiencies of scale again. But I have to say that today was a big day for me as a farmer, and I am tired. So I got up early and milked the sheep with my partner, Jim. And I was lucky to have help and brought the milk in and poured it into the right bottles and got it into a water bath so that the milk would cool to 42 degrees in less than 2 hours to maintain its quality. And then I made cheese. 3.5 gallons of sheep milk turned into about 3.5 pounds of cheese, maybe even a little bit more because the solids content is so high, the fats and the protein in sheep milk. So I keep on going and I keep on teaching, and I'm also an EMT. I have a drill tomorrow night, and I am concerned about the structure of agriculture. As you could tell from when I was writing FoodWISE, what is happening to small scale farms, really, and where's the support for that? And what does it mean? Why care anyway? And I include an article here which looks at declining demand due to coronavirus and increasing wastage of produce and products otherwise that we are producing. We have got to find markets. And then, as I say in the introductory narrative that accompanies the video, then we need to work on systemic change. The structure of agriculture, that is, what percentage of farms and size of farms produces what percentage of what's grown, is really critical to questions about resilience, the resilience of our own communities, the resilience of the entire US food system, and of the world food system. Right now, it's a question of trying to meet demand with supply. May seem simplistic, but the threats are so real, now is the time to act.